Yeah. Good audio? All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Wichita Police Department Interwatch. New week, Monday, July the 9th. First off, this morning we're going to have Lieutenant Stevens with the Wichita Police Department Investigation Section coming to speak about this weekend's homicide, which will be the 30th homicide for 2018. So I'll hand it off to the lieutenant, allow him to provide the information.
Morning, and I'm Lieutenant Jason Stevens, S-T-E-P-H-E-N-S. Like Officer Davidson said, I'm here to talk about Saturday's homicide that occurred at just after noon on the 7th at 500 West 17th Street North, or in the 500 block of West 17th Street North. Wichita police officers were dispatched to that location to the report of a shooting. They arrived on scene and located a 41-year-old female that had been shot multiple times, and she was transported to a local hospital and later pronounced deceased. Since that time, we've developed a suspect in the case, which is going to be an ex-boyfriend by the name of Juan Carlos Caballeros. That's C-A-B-A-L-L-E-R-O-S hyphen Yescas. Y-E-S-C-A-S. He's a Hispanic male, and he was last seen in a black 2010 Volkswagen Beetle with a Minnesota tag. He is expected to be armed and dangerous, and anyone who comes into contact with him should be cautious and alert 911 immediately, or contact Crime Stoppers. While investigating the crime, we did learn that he'd fled the state, and then at some point at about 2 or 3 a.m. In the early morning hours of Sunday the 8th, he did return home, or back to Wichita, and went to an address in the 1900 block of West 35th Street South and committed a robbery where he contacted an individual that he knew and demanded money at gunpoint. Since that time, we're not aware of any other locations or contacts with this suspect.
Was that person related to the victim?
Which person would that be?
The person that he robbed?
It was a friend.
Okay.
So
We don't know if
there was no blood relation that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And you said he did leave Kansas and return back to Kansas?
That is correct.
How were you guys aware that he left the state?
We were given that information from an individual who contacted authorities in Raymore, Missouri.
So since he robbed the person at gunpoint, is there any other indication that he's left the state since then?
We have received several tips that indicate that he might flee the state, possibly to the state of Texas or even into Mexico, but none of those are absolutely confirmed.
Is Juan Carlos Caballeros Yescas from Wichita, or is he from Minnesota where those tags are?
I honestly don't know where he's from. I think he's actually from Mexico originally, but he is a resident of Wichita, Kansas.
Is that a stolen vehicle?
No, not at this time.
Who was that? Who does that car belong to? The Beetle with Minnesota tags.
It belongs to a female that that he is currently living with.
The 41-year-old female that did die from the shooting, are you identifying her yet?
I probably will at a later time today. I don't have that information with me right now.
Where was she found inside the house?
Several feet from the door, the front door.
Is there any indication of if there was an argument leading up to the shooting, or what may have been the cause?
Right now, because of the fact that this is a pending investigation, I don't want to go into those details. There is a indication that there may have been an ongoing situation since they had recently broke up. But as far as at the moment that it occurred, I don't want to comment on those details yet.
So the car belongs to another woman and not the victim?
It just belongs to another female that he knows that he lives with.
Was there anyone else at the home or around the home at the time?
There was another person in the house, and they were unharmed.
All right, appreciate it, LT.
Yep.
Appreciate the lieutenant giving us update again on the city's 30th homicide of 2018. You do have any information in the whereabouts of this suspect, please call 911, or you can call Crime Stoppers 316-267-2111. I know the information is on the Wichita Police Department Facebook page, along with a picture of the suspect, his name, and a picture of him so you could identify him. Again, call Crime Stoppers or Wichita Police Department, detectives, or 911 if you know the whereabouts of this individual. I have two cases that I'm going to cover today. Both of them are aggravated robbery cases of a commercial house. One of them involves an arrest, and then Officer Cruz will also come up and be talking about an aggravated battery firearms case and also a runaway case on some information we're going to be put out this morning. So the two cases I have, first one, 18C 43899. Again, it's an aggravated robbery of a commercial house. The 400 block of South West Street occurred yesterday morning when the business was opening at approximately 10 a.m. at the Arby's. Approximately 10 a.m. Sunday, July 8th, officers responded to an armed robbery call at the Arby's in the 400 block of South West Street. When officers arrived, they made contact with a 27-year-old female employee who stated that an unknown suspect had entered the business and demanded money while he kept his hands in his pockets. Cash was given to the suspect, who then fled the area on foot. Fortunately, there were no injuries in this case, and the suspect was described as an unknown black male, 18 to 29 years of age, approximately 5'4", 140 pounds, dark complexion, was wearing a red hooded jacket, red sweatpants. We do ask if anybody has any information on this case to please call detectives 268-4407 or Crime Stoppers 267-2111. And remember, you can remain anonymous by calling Crime Stoppers.
So we don't know if he had a weapon?
Correct. There was no weapon seen or indicated during the incident. All right, the second case actually involves two cases. First one's 18C 044050, and the second one is 44053. So it's 44050 and 44053, involving a vandalism and then an aggravated robbery of a commercial house. Occurred approximately 2 a.m. this morning. Occurred approximately 1:20 a.m. this morning to 2 o'clock this morning in that time frame. Approximately 1:20 a.m. this morning, officers responded to an alarm call at the Valero in the 7100 block of East Lincoln. An unknown suspect had vandalized the business. After completing the report, the officer continued to watch the business, knowing it had been targeted for burglaries and robberies in the past. The officer observed a male suspect armed with a knife approach a 38-year-old male and a 32-year-old female and 4-year-old male. The two adults were employees of the business locking up. The officer quickly responded to the incident he saw unfolding, and the suspect fled on foot, but was apprehended and taken into custody. The 66-year-old male suspect was arrested and booked into jail for robbery, aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, and resist police.
66, you said?
That's correct. Great job by the officer involved in this case in being proactive and making an arrest in this violent crime.
Is it believed that the 66-year-old male also committed that vandalism?
That's something we'll be looking into.
You said there was a 4-year-old child with those two employees?
Correct, yeah. The employees responded to the business because of the alarm call, and the child was with one of the with one of those employees.
So the business was closed at the
That's
time?
correct. During the vandalism, and then again during this robbery, the business was closed, yes.
So he hasn't been booked on anything related to the vandalism?
Not that I'm aware of. He was arrested and booked on those charges at this time.
Was the business open?
No. All right. I'll have Officer Cruz come up. He's got 2 cases and I believe some information on the homicide. He will, the victim's name, he will release, and some information on 2 other cases that we had over the weekend as well. So I'll hand it over to Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Charlie, and welcome back.
Thank you.
In reference to the homicide, the victim has been identified as Lucy Mojica, a 41-year-old female of Wichita.
Can you spell that, please?
Sure. It's Mojica. Lucy is Lucy
Of Wichita?
of Wichita. In reference to the case that I want to talk about today, it's going to be reference case number 18C043860. This is a reference to a case that occurred at approximately at 2:30 in the morning on Sunday when officers responded to a shooting call at the Lions Den Club located in the 6300 block of East Harry. Upon arrival, officers located multiple shell casings and were called to a hospital in reference to 2 gunshot victims, a 25-year-old male and a 23-year-old female. The male had sustained multiple gunshot wounds, and the 23-year-old female had a single gunshot wound to the leg. The male was in critical but stable condition, and the female had non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation revealed the male was near the front door when he was shot multiple times by an unknown suspect. The female was waiting in the line of the club when the shooting began and was struck in the leg. Limited cooperation has slowed the investigation, and we are asking anyone that has information on this case to please call WPD detectives at phone number 268-4407, or we ask that you call Crime Stoppers at 316-267-2111. And we also want to remind our folks that we do have our the community-based initiative that if you see something, say something, and we are asking that you also use that number to call. Again, this is something that we want to emphasize on the importance. There was a lot of people there at the club, and we've received limited information, limited cooperation. So we are asking the public and those that were there to reach out to detectives and contact us regarding information so that we can find the suspect responsible for this. We also want to remind you that by calling Crime Stoppers, you can remain anonymous. During the investigations, officers recovered a reported stolen firearm. The gun recovered was stolen from a parked vehicle at Roller City, located in the 3200 block of South Meridian. Then we know that the suspect broke out the window and the firearm was taken. We want to remind our citizens that this is a preventable crime. Gun thefts are preventable and are the responsibility of all gun owners. We want to encourage citizens to make sure you lock up your guns so they don't end up in the wrong hands. From January to May of this year, we've had a total of 425 guns that have been stolen, and only 102 have been recovered. We are asking the public to please do your part and keep our city safe.
So, can you talk about where the gun was stolen in relation to where the shooting actually happened?
So the gun was stolen in a case back in 2016. I can get you the case number.
And it was found?
And it was found in one of the, through the investigation of the shooting, one of the individuals that was contacted by officers that night, it was located inside the vehicle. That gun was found to be stolen under the 2016 case. And we want to emphasize on the importance of making sure that gun owners lock up their guns in regards to these situations.
Was that gun used in this shooting?
No.
Okay. So this is separate?
Not that we know of at this point, but we don't believe so.
So while you were making contact with people at this
Correct.
club, that's when you found this
Correct.
gun inside one of the vehicles?
Correct.
But it wasn't at the club?
No.
This happened at 2:30. You said that the woman involved was waiting in line to get in. Is the club open at that time?
You know, I don't have that information. I would have to look in further. I want to make sure that the time isn't something that was reported during the shooting, or if there was a time lapse from the time that it occurred to the time that the officers realized that the incident occurred. So it could have been the time that she arrived to the hospital. There had been some time lapse that occurred from the time that it was reported.
What were the ages?
The ages were 25-year-old male and a 23-year-old female.
Which hospital did they arrive to?
St. Joseph.
And they went there themselves? They drove?
I don't have that information.
They weren't taken there by an ambulance?
I don't know.
Was this gang related? Any?
That's something we're looking into.
Can you read the case one more time?
I'm sorry?
The case one more time?
Yeah, I'll give it to you afterwards. In reference to the next case that I want to talk about, it's reference runaways. At around 10:45 last night on Sunday, 4 juveniles ran away from the Wichita Children's Home. They were ages 13 to 17. We are referencing 2 girls and 2 boys. One of the juveniles is a 13-year-old Taurus Hampton. He is mentally disabled, and we are asking the public help in locating these juveniles. If anyone has information, we ask that you call 911 or EMCU detectives at 660-9478. The other 3 individuals that are also runaways that we are currently looking for is Jacob Harris, he's 15 years old, Divine Sherry, 17 years old, and Destiny Vopat, she's 14 years old. I have posted this information on our Facebook page where you can locate pictures. We don't have actual pictures currently for Jacob Harris, but we did include the pictures of the other juveniles, so that if you do see these juveniles, please call 911 or EMCU detectives.
2 girls and 2 boys?
Correct. All right, that's all the information we have today. Thank you very much.